Hey guys, I'm Jamie.
I'm David.
And we're here to talk about board games.
Specifically, games that we're excited about coming out in 2025, hopefully.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to talk about two games that we have playtested that we are hoping launch in 2025 on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one on our list we have already talked about in David's honorable mentions for 2024.
Yeah.
This is Kaiser Cucumber and the Gangs of McChanicle Corners by our friends at Fight in a Box. If you want to learn more about this game, we have a short that's going to be coming soon on it. But basically, you are laying out these tiles and trying to have your gang members kind of like get away with a crime. You're trying to dodge the watchful eyes of the bunny bobbies, as well as try and get the other gangs caught or run away. Really cool kind of social deduction, tile laying type game that we absolutely love the prototype of, so we can't wait to see how the full copy comes out.
Yes, and it's hopefully going to be launching on Kickstarter soon-ish, but you can go to Fight in a Box's website to sign up for notifications to know exactly when it launches so that you can back it on day zero like us.
Yes.
And then our next kind of honorable mention is another one of our friends, Kervin at 4Y Games, is hoping to be launching Marsh Hollow this year. Very excited for that. Again, we've play tested that, and we've played the print and play. It's a lot of fun. It's a really, really nice flip and write game with some really cool, unique mechanics. And the art is just awesome, and Kervin is just the actual best person.
Yeah, it's really unique in terms of like the theme and the artwork. And so I think we don't have a lot of experience actually with like roll and writes or flip and writes or anything like that. So we really liked this.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, and we're definitely excited to check it out some more.
Yeah.
And then with that, we have a couple more sort of honorable mentions, but we've got 5 games that are things that we have already backed on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That, unless something goes wrong, should be fulfilling this year.
Yes. So the first one is probably the one I am most excited about. I feel like we've waited the longest for this one.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was supposed to come out last year. But, you know, we all understand delays.
Yeah.
This is Critter Kitchen.
Yes. So excited for this game.
Yes. This is by the same team that did a beloved game of ours, Flamecraft. Published by Cardboard Alchemy, art by Sandara Tang, who just does the coziest little drawings. If you haven't seen her stuff, please look her up. Amazing. And there's going to be like simultaneous play in this one.
Yeah.
Kind of like worker deployment. You're making recipes. You're having a great time. I just would like the game in my hands.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those worker placement games where the workers are asymmetric. So some workers move faster but can't take as many ingredients. Some workers are slower but they can carry a lot. So it really makes you kind of choose, you know, what am I going to go get? What do I need? What do I, you know, I just want some of those things. I don't really care what I get. I just want as much as I can. Things like that. So it seems like a really, really cool game, and we're excited to get our hands on it.
Yes.
Up next is the newest Kickstarter that we backed on this. We just backed it immediately as soon as we saw it launch, is Everdell Silverfrost.
That should be no surprise to anyone that's seen probably any of our videos.
Yeah, I mean, you can, I think, see the Everdell big box up there.
Maybe.
The complete collection. But if not, I mean, we have all of the Everdell products. We have the complete collection. We have Far Shore. We have My Little Everdell. We have Everdell Duo. I have the playing cards. I have a Barge Toad blanket.
That was a new acquisition at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah. We just love Everdell. The games are phenomenal. We haven't been disappointed with any of them. And if Far Shore is any indication, Silverfrost is going to very much so stand on its own as a good game that is worth playing and worth owning, even if you have other games in the Everdell universe.
Yes, this is part of their Beyond the Map, Edge of the Map series. Beyond the Map, Beyond the Edge of the Map, which is what Far Shore was. So it's kind of like you took Everdell and you went on Beyond the Map.
Yeah, outside the valley.
So this one is more in the mountains rather than on the beach. What I think is super cool, and I learned recently about this series, even after owning Far Shore for so long, is that the artist for each of these games has changed. So Far Shore was not the original Everdell artist, Andrew Bosley. And then this game, Silverfrost, will also be a different artist. And I will put their names here.
Yes. But yeah, super excited for that. I mean, literally anything with more Everdell, just shut up and take our money. Please. We want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Going on the cozy vibe, I think all of these games are some level of cozy in some way. I saw a Kickstarter that absolutely grabbed my attention, and I had to go get it. Apothecary Bakery.
So cute.
Like Apothecary and Bakery. So basically, you are just this little baker that mixes up these little potions and baked treats to give to the adventurers that are going out and like basically getting hurt and stuff by the monsters that are out there. The cutest thing about this game is that in order to gather your ingredients for potions, you're going to send out your little friends, essentially Pokemon. I mean, let's be honest here. Your little familiars. It's so cute. I'm very excited. I can't wait to get it in my hands.
Yeah, it looks super great, and we're definitely excited for it.
Yeah.
Up next, this is another one that I backed. So anybody that knows me knows that I just love anything with a frog on it, for sure.
We own the Barge Toad Everdell blanket.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Indication.
Like, if that's not evidence, I don't know what is, other than the rest of this list of things I'm excited for coming in this year. But so I backed a game called The Frog Legions. It looks like a very, very, nice little tight drafting game for 2 players where you're building up an army of these frogs that all have different abilities when you play them and at the end of each round. And we love tight little 1 versus 1 games where kind of as you play, you sort of learn, okay, well, I know that Jamie likes doing this strategy, but then she knows that I know that she likes that. So then she changes her strategy, but I know that she knows that I know that she likes that. And it just keeps leveling up on one another. Yeah. And it seems like it's going to make for a really good play experience.
Yeah, I know nothing about this game. David said, I found a frog game and I backed it and it looks cool. And that is what I know.
Yeah, I mean, which is pretty much the same for Apothecary Bakery.
That's true.
Yeah.
On that note, I've got another one for you that you definitely don't know about. Is Parks and Potions. Oh, look at that. Another game in a forest with potions and animals.
Crazy.
This one is you're mixing up potions again because you're going to have these animals that have some type of like sickness going on with them. It's some type of magical sickness though. So they've got like little flowers and leaves and stuff growing on them, which is interesting. The main reason I backed this game though is because it can all fit in a like small cloth bag. And we are always looking for bags we can take, or games we can take on the go for us. We love traveling with games. We love when we go places to like cafes or breweries or stuff. So Parks and Potions really caught my eye. And I think we backed the little mini expansion that goes with it as well. So excited to see that fulfill.
Yeah, it is rare that we leave our house and don't have at least one small little board game on us, because if we just find ourselves stopped somewhere for 20 minutes, well, maybe we just play a quick little game of something.
If we don't have a game with us, it's usually because we're going to buy a game.
That's true. It's very, very true.
Yeah.
And we do that at a totally reasonable amount.
Totally reasonable amount.
Yeah, we don't have stacks of unplayed games or anything.
And on that note, I think we should get into our top 10 list. So for some backstory, this is how we came up with it. We each have 10 games that we're going to talk about that we're excited about. And this list in particular are just games that we saw on the BGG, like upcoming 2025 release games. Hopefully they all release in 2025. But we truly don't know anything else except for like the picture of the box, the mini description, and vibes, baby.
Yeah. And then also specifically, the particular list that we were looking at, it is games announced in 2024 to be released in 2025. So games such as Critter Kitchen that got announced in 2023 but aren't releasing until 2025, any game that would fall into that criteria, wasn't on this list. And then we basically just each picked 10. We put them into a one-on-one at a time ranking chooser system. And this is our list.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to start things off?
Sure. So, number 10 on games I'm excited for 2025, Cats and Dragons. This looks like something that we don't really have, and I haven't heard of too many games like this, but it seems like it's got like some tile laying. Everybody's playing as sort of like the ruler of a cat kingdom, and you're all trying to slay the dragons. But it's far from a cooperative game, because as with most, countries, you only pretend to like each other. And so what happens is you'll secretly deploy troops to go fight these dragons. But I might say like, hey, Jamie, let's go work together to kill this big, big dragon. Like, we both have to send huge armies to go do it. And then she sends a lot of armies. I send nothing. Her armies get obliterated.
That's awful. That's a terrible thing. Why would you do that to me?
It just seems like a really interesting mechanic. And I mean, cats versus dragons.
Yeah.
Or cats and dragons. But I mean, cats versus dragons.
Cats versus dragons versus
That's
other
pretty
cats.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely one I'm interested to see how it pans out.
Mm-hmm.
My number 10 is Three Sisters Harvest Edition. And you might be thinking, wow, you must really like Three Sisters if you're excited for the next edition of it. Never played it. Never played it. Like we said at the beginning of this video, we don't have a lot of experience with roll and writes or flip and writes or the writing games.
X and writes.
And Three Sisters is a very, very well-known, reviewed, I think it's a roll and write.
Don't look at me.
It's a writing game.
It's an X and write game.
It's based on the planting method, the indigenous planting method of, I think it's beans, corn, and squash are the three sisters that kind of benefit from one another. So I think from what I've seen, you're kind of planting those three crops and you're kind of balancing where you're getting your points. Harvest Edition is going to be a new take on it. It is. It said it's a standalone replacement for Three Sisters. So I figured if we want to try one, why don't we get the newest one?
Yep. Yeah. No, definitely seems like a good one for sure.
Yeah.
And we've been slowly getting more into the X and write genres of games.
Yeah.
So excited to check out that. So for my number 9, do you remember when I said I like frogs? So for this is Pondscape. So again, we don't really have too much information because we really were just browsing Board Game Geek and reading the description and looking at some pictures. But basically, you have a bunch of different like frog and insect and lily pad cards and things like that. You're trying to build out a pond and score the most points based on the effects of all the frogs and stuff. I mean, it has cards and it has frogs. I don't actually need to know much more than that to be interested. So
my number 9 is Huton. In this game, you are laying out basically 3 different things. You've got flowers, which I believe become trees, which then become animals. And you're basically just like building out your little section of a forest or a rainforest. I'm not quite sure. I can't tell from just the artwork. But it caught my eye because it's very pretty. And the pieces for the like tiling aspect of it, like at least the trees and the animals are like 3D components, which that's kind of one thing I'd really like to see in more tiling games is like instead of just building out, I'd like to see building up. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Just looked like a pretty game.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, and I'm excited to learn a little bit more about it. So for my number 8 is going to be Trinket Trove.
Trinket Trove.
Trinket Trove. Trinket Trove. This is another game with super adorable looking art by Sandara Tang. You can tell that when we find an artist that we like, we really liked seeing them a lot in other games. This just looks like a really adorable little kind of auctioning type of bidding game. And we don't really have any kind of auctiony games in our collection at the moment. So, I'd like to learn a little bit more about it, and it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, the closest one that I can think of that we don't have is Art Society. I know you're like bidding on stuff there. But again, we don't have that. So yeah,
just seems different, new, and cute.
And my number 8 is another well-known game designer this time. This is Garden Lake by Uwe Rosenberg. Believe it or not, I don't think we've ever played an Uwe game. Ever.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think so. But I obviously hear the name all the time and nothing but great things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that some of the Uwe games that we've encountered or like had a chance to play before are a little like heavier than we would like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of been a pass for us. But this looked really beautiful, like a tile laying game. Beautiful artwork over like a pond, a lake. A fish is like jumping out over the cover. So I just thought it looked nice, and I thought we could kind of dip our toe into that.
Yeah, I agree. So for my number 7 is a game, Misfit Heroes. The big thing that drew me to this game is so you assemble the deck of different like heroes that are available by basically taking like a card and mixing it with a transparency thing in a sleeve. Mm-hmm. So it creates randomized, unique things every single game. So you don't know what the options are going to be going into it. So you really have to kind of understand the game and, adapt as you go. For anybody that's played Canvas, it sounds like it is a similar kind of mechanic, but instead of that being what you do throughout the game, that gets done randomly and not to your knowledge to set up the game. And then you have to deal with the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
So it seems really, really cool, and I'm excited to see more of it.
Yeah, the artwork on the cover and everything looks really cute too, and love the name.
Yeah, so. Definitely looks like our vibe. Feels like our vibe.
Yeah. My number 7 is our only it's not our only IP. It's one of our IPs. Intellectual properties. This is our only video game one, though. I feel like last year and this year, some video games are coming out. Mm-hmm. We had like Slay the Spire, we had Dead Cells, and I've heard rumors of a couple more that are coming out too that are games that I don't really know. But this is a game I know. This is Don't Starve, the board game. So if you've ever played Don't Starve or Don't Starve Together, which is the multiplayer version of that, this is a video game version of that. And for those that have not played, in the game, you are basically your own little person, little character, and you're just trying to survive this like dark and dreadful world. You're building a fire, you're chopping trees. It reads like a cozy game when I talk about it, but there are horrors in this world. Yeah. We've played a little bit of Don't Starve together, and I think the reason why this made it on my list is because I've been itching to play it some more. So I thought that the board game looked like a cool cooperative kind of version of that we would like to try. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it definitely seems cool. It's definitely, I think it gets described as like a survival horror game, but it's really more of like a survival spoopy game. Like it's not really horror. Yeah,
it's not jump scare.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to pop out at you and make you scream while you play this game. It's like the art is 2D, like flat, cartoony. So like they're kind of like when you look at things, they're like, that's spoopy, but like
yeah. Like I don't do horror, but I do Don't Starve.
Yeah, I don't do horror games.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew is about as far as I'll go.
So number 6 for me, this is going to be a game called Ruins. Again, I don't really know much about this, but it looks like you're essentially building a card throughout the game. So there's like transparent cards. At each turn, you like upgrade your card and then go through it. So it seems like it's almost kind of like a sort of engine buildy, programmy type game. Okay. I don't really, again, have too many details, but it looks like, over the course of the game, you just build up like one big super card and then use that and try to score that and see what it gets you.
Interesting.
Yeah, it just sounds cool. And
it seems like, from what you're saying, it's like one of those where you're building an engine, but you're only firing it once.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, which is like something I've seen in like Let's Go to Japan is a big game that's doing that right now. So I wonder if that's how it works and if that's a popular mechanic now. My number 6 is an adorable penguin game called Pebbles. And if you don't know anything about penguins and you're wondering why it's called Pebbles, it's because I don't think it's every penguin species, but in some penguin species, when they meet their mates, who they mate for life, just like we go and present our partner with a ring sometimes, penguins will go and they will pick out a cute pebble and they will give it to their mate as like a proposal of sorts.
Yep.
And that's so cute. So in this game, you're playing penguin cards, you're kind of skating around, you're trying to find your love. It's just, the art is delightful in what I've seen. Looks fun.
Yeah, it looks super, super cute for sure. So for my number 5, this is going to be a standalone expansion / own game of a game that I am a huge fan of, that I've been playing for years, called Super Boss Monster. The other one is just Boss Monster.
I haven't played it yet.
She should. It's good. So, I mean, I don't have every expansion for Boss Monster. I have quite a few of them. It's definitely a game that I'd like to play a little bit more, but I'm really excited for Super Boss Monster because, a couple of things is, one, fully backwards compatible. Always love to see that. Whenever they come out, whenever anybody comes out with, oh, this is our new standalone game, but you can still use everything that you have before. Love that. It also adds an entire new mechanic of like the town that the heroes are in, and you can send a little minion to go like abduct them. And it also adds a solo mode, which is great because now I can actually play Boss Monster.
Now I can continue not to play. No, I might play it. If we get Super Boss Monster, I'll probably end up playing it. On that note, my number 5 is kind of a new-ish version of, I'm going to call it the Span family. That's not what it is. It's the Wingspan family. This is Finpan by Stonemaier Games. So Wingspan is a very popular game. It's what people like to say is like a gateway game, or like your first like bigger modern game for a lot of people. Where you're collecting birds. And then they came out with a lot of expansions that we own, as well as the big box. And then they also came out this past year with Wormspan, which was on my top of 2024.
Yeah,
because it was Wingspan with dragons. Now, I will say, Finspan is fish. I do like dragons more than fish.
Yeah.
We'll say that. But Jamie Stagmeyer came out with a video of a quick, like, couple of turns play of Finspan, and the mechanics in that game look unique enough for me to A, justify getting this game, and B, think it is its own standalone that could, be good despite it being based on fish rather than like dragons. It also is supposed to be a great, it's supposed to be lighter. So a great way to introduce people into that, and then, maybe bump them up, maybe not. You'll see. So I'm excited to check that out.
Yeah, me too. And just like you said, Wormspan was a little bit more complicated than Wingspan. Yeah. Finspan is supposed to be a little bit less complicated.
Which I think is great.
Yeah. I mean, well, and we have friends who we've played Wingspan with, and they were like, I felt really, really lost the whole time because they just don't play as many of that type of game. Yeah. So I think that Finspan would really be kind of where a lot of our friends fall.
Yeah.
So for number 4, this is definitely the least like any other game on this list for sure, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Is Hibachi Fired Up. So this is a sort of remake redux of Hibachi. They just call it Hibachi Fired Up just so that you know which version you're buying.
I didn't know Hibachi was a game.
I didn't really know much about it. I just read about that on the Hibachi Fired Up description. But so this is a dexterity game where you have what look to be basically little poker chips, and you're trying to throw them onto the board to land on the ingredients that you're trying to get so that you can fulfill orders and be kind of the best chef. It just seems cool. I think dexterity games are awesome. I love throwing shit. And I just think it'll be a good time.
Do you know who I think, if you end up watching this, I think Gateway Games, if you end up watching this, I think you should get this game, because I know Gateway Games does a December to Remember series in December, or at least he did this last December, and this seems right up your alley.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely excited for this, and this is going to go on the short list of games that's going to make me wish we had a game room that our cats couldn't get into, so that when we're playing and stuff gets knocked everywhere, we don't have to frantically pick it up before Vexalia eats things.
Yeah, Vex is one of our cats, and she's under the impression that if it falls on the floor, it's a cat toy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a fun journey.
Yep.
And related to cats, actually, is my number 4, which is from the makers of Calico. It is Knitting Circle, I think, which is a Calico game.
Mm-hmm.
So in Calico, you are taking tiles of different patterns and trying to create this beautiful, I think it's a blanket.
I think so.
And then you attract cats to it. It's a great tiling game. Knitting Circle is actually where you're taking pieces and you're trying to like knit. Basically, they say pieces, but like scarves is what it looks like to me. And each little piece has a different little knitting pattern on it. Now, I am a lightly crafty person, is what I'll call it. And I dabble a little. I've knit things before. I'm into more crocheting now because I like making little amigurumis. But so I recognize some of the stitches on some of these pieces. So I think it kind of rings true to me. And there's cats again. So
yeah,
can't really beat that.
Yeah, can't go wrong with cats. We're excited for a year or two from now when we get Catspan.
Yeah. Yes. Somewhere, if you're watching this, Catspan. Catspan.
Frogspan. Give me Frogspan. So, top 3 territory now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, this is a sort of reskin with a few mechanics of a game that I've actually been looking at for quite a while. I see it recommended a lot. It seems like the type of game that we would like to play against one another, but I wasn't in love with the theming. Emphasis on wasn't. So this is Fantasy Realms Greek Legends, which is a Greek-themed version of the game Fantasy Realms, which, like I said, it just seems right up our alley. Like I talked about earlier, we really love games that just the two of us can play and sort of metagame over each other's strategies. Basically, everybody has a hand of 7 cards, which is your realm. And at the end of the game, all the cards in your hand score based on their own different rules and criterias. And so each turn you draw a card and then you discard a card. And that's it. You're just trying to build the highest scoring realm that you can off of all the cards that you see. It just seems like one of those games that has really simple mechanics and leads to like really deep emergent strategy.
Yeah, that sounds cool. My number 3 is, oh, look at that, another cozy game. This is Forage Lings, and I'm going to be really honest, you guys. I don't remember anything about it. What I do know about it is you are playing as a forageling and going into the forest and just kind of gathering up like little coins and things like that throughout 6 rounds of play. So I wonder how quick those rounds actually are. But just the artwork on the cover seemed really cozy and cute. And yeah, love the name.
Yeah, it's adorable and sounds cool and right up our alley for sure.
Number 2.
Yep. So this one is going to be probably out of all the games on this list, this is probably the one that people have heard about the most just because so many people got their hands on it at PAX Unplugged, and we kind of regret not getting our hands on it at PAX Unplugged. So this is the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. So we're both big fans of Lord of the Rings, and I'm a huge fan of trick-taking games. Jamie's been starting to like them more and more as she's realized that some of the first ones that we played just weren't as great of games, but it's a cool mechanic.
Yeah, it also, Jamie's also starting to become a Lord of the Rings fan. Let's rewrite the narrative on that one.
Yeah, so we're both huge Lord of the Rings fans. We love it. But this game just looks great. We've heard nothing but praise for it. Everybody has different little goals of things that you're trying to do to work together. And it just seems cool. The artwork is beautiful, and we're excited for it.
Yeah, the artwork looks really cool. It looks very stained glass like, which
Mhm.
is what kind of drew my eye to it as well. My number 2 is another new version of a game that is of a game that we haven't played. That was a convoluted way to say that. Basically, my number 2 is Above and Below Haunted. And I think it's the 10th anniversary for the original game Above and Below, which we've never played. But 2 things are going for this game for me. 1, recommended by a friend.
Mm-hmm.
2, it's by Red Raven Games.
Yeah.
And we just recently acquired Creature Caravan. And I really love the way that game played and really love the artwork in that game. And I know that the limited stuff I do know about Red Raven is that like a lot of the artwork is in kind of the same vein and like world.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see more of it. I know that you're rolling dice. I know that you're building up a town both above ground and then below ground. You're also kind of exploring caverns and building something out down there as well. There's encounters, there's dice rolling, there's all this stuff. So it looks really cool. The haunted version is adding a few new things to it, like ghosts. That's why it's haunted.
Makes sense.
So I really want to check this out. I think this would be a good introduction to that game.
Yeah, seems cool.
This is it. Number 1.
Number 1. Remember when I said I like frogs? So, my number 1 game that I'm excited for is Pond, a froggy board game.
It's literally frog board game in the title.
Yep.
David was like, sign me up.
Yeah, I saw it and I said, cool, number 1. What is it? It sounds like a really cool game. So, you can play, I think it was 2 to 4 players. And you basically have little frog armies, and you're trying to compete over the pond. It also has a deck building element, as well as sort of like an engine building element with different frog heroes that you get with passive abilities every turn. And it just sounds like, 1, a lot of mechanics that I really enjoy, and 2, frogs.
What
Enough
can
said.
go wrong?
Yeah, love them.
Yeah. My number 1 is a game that, looking at it, I wouldn't think we would be interested in, but it's my number 1 because I happen to be interested in it, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
This is Crafting the Cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say it doesn't look like something we'd be interested in is because it looks like it has a lot going on, and we are definitely like medium to lightweight gamers, for sure. We can go towards the heavier medium, but if you're playing a board game for more than 2 hours, don't call me.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about it unless we're learning the game.
Yeah.
2 hours is like my limit, man. And Crafting the Cosmos, I don't think it goes beyond that. I have to double check what the estimated time limit is. But it just looked really cool. Like, I really loved the artwork on the cover. There looked like a lot of different mechanics going on. There looked like these little like marble things that you use to track stuff. These like cool double-sided pawns that you use to show your resources. And you're basically just like creating your section of the cosmos, of like planets and stuff like that, using different elements. So I just looked really cool.
Yeah, it looks really awesome for sure. Like, Jamie showed me the trailer and I was like, oh my god, that looks
like, that's on your list.
Yeah, that it looks so sweet.
Yeah.
And from what they say, it's not too long of like an estimated playtime or anything. I mean, both of us, we like diving into games, so if a game's going to take 6 hours to play and we're only going to play it 3 times a year, I'm never going to play it enough to be happy with my understanding of the game, You
will never catch me playing Twilight Imperium.
No, definitely not. Twilight Imperium, Axis and Allies, have fun.
That's a no-go for me. I commend the people that do, truly.
Yeah, and if that's your jam, I love that for you.
Yeah.
And just know that I love you, because people like you playing Twilight Imperium are the reason that other people don't ask us to play Twilight Imperium. They ask you instead.
Yeah. So with that, those are some board games that we are excited to check out in 2025. I think it is going to be another great year of board gaming. you hear it from a lot of different creators that 2024 was just such a good year.
Which it was.
It was. It was a really great year. 2025 seems like a great year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, board gaming has just been improving and improving.
Yeah.
You know, more people are designing games. There's more indie games. There's big name designers coming out with more and more projects. There's bigger IPs getting involved in it. So yeah, honestly, board gaming on the up and up for sure, and we're excited to explore all of it.
Yeah, so be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to follow our journey for this year. We've got a couple more things coming out soon, as well as some of our other networks that we might be on. So until next time, bye guys.